The Jews, a study of race and environment by Maurice Fishberg.
Raise it up.
The Walter Scott Publishing Company, LTD.
Right. Look at the year, 1911.
1911, yes, sir.
Now let's see what he wrote on page 64. Next page. Zoom in. Read that highlighted area.
These fair-haired Jews created a problem.
Talk about white folks.
For anthropologists. It is a question whence these Indo-Germanic Jews, as Virchow called them, have found their way into the midst of a dark complexioned race like the Jews.
So he's bringing out the controversy. White folks saying they're Jews, but the Jews have always been known as being black. So now it caused a controversy, a problem for anthropologists. So now, let's go to Genesis. Thank you. So that was a little bit of opening with history. Let's go to Genesis 25, and let's start at verse 21.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren.
NIT, if y'all got some more images for me, because I don't have all the images, I'm trusting y'all be able to just find some on your own. Read that, I'm sorry.
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. The Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived.
So now his wife initially could not get pregnant, but then the Lord allowed them to be blessed, and she conceived. Go ahead.
And the children struggled together within her.
Children, notice, children, more than one. Go ahead.
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
Meaning, if the Lord has blessed me, why am I having trouble in this childbirth? Go ahead.
And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
Meaning those children are the origin or the beginnings or the genesis of 2 nations. Go ahead.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
2 manner of people, meaning 2 different types of people, shall be separated. Meaning what? What kind of twins were they? They were fraternal, not identical. Go ahead.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Stronger mentally and physically. That's us, able to endure great hardships. Go ahead.
And the elder shall serve the younger.
And the elder child shall serve the younger. Talking about in the kingdom. It's prophetic. Go ahead.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
So his name was called Esau. Write this down. Esau means wasted away is he. Wasted away is he. That's what it means. Red, Esau does not mean red. Esau does not mean hairy. We'll get to that a little later on. Go ahead.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
So what I want you all to notice, you new brothers and sisters at home, they never give the color of Jacob. They gave the color of Esau being red. Why didn't they give the color of Jacob? Because he was the same complexion as his mother and father and everybody else from Genesis 2, verse 7. Get that for me? Genesis 2, verse 7.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. The Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground. Right there. Notice the soil. That's the color Adam was. Now look at the hand of the white folks. Hey, find me one with a black man holding the soil. I want y'all to see the comparison now. Look at the black man holding the earth. So read Genesis 2:7 one more again.
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. The Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
So the dust of the ground is the same color as the man. Now watch this. Give me Genesis 1. Is it 26?
Yes, sir.
Give me that.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air.
So Adam looked just like God. Same complexion. Y'all, you ain't got to be ashamed to say it. You ain't got to be ashamed. You got to whisper it. You ain't got to whisper it. Adam looked just like God. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. That's what you're seeing right there. That's what you're seeing right there. Go on back, Captain Get Alive.
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 25, verse 27. The boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sowed pottage. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Write this down. Edom means red. Do you have the Bible dictionary with Edom? What it means? Genesis 36, and I want to start at verse 8.
The book of Genesis, chapter 36, verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir.
Write this down. Seir, S-E-I-R, means hairy. Seir, S-E-I-R, means hairy. It was a range of mountains that was sharp, and it looked like hair. Read it again.
Yes, sir. Genesis 36, verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
Esau is Edom. Read.
And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount
Seir.
Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple, which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees.
Notice who burned down the temple. It was the Edomites. Go ahead.
And now, O Lord the King, this is that
hey,
which
can y'all put some pictures of the Edomites on the screen for me while we're talking? Read that part again.
Yes,
for
sir.
IT, because they ain't paying attention.
Yes. Verse 45. Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees.
Because the Edomites worked with the Chaldeans, which were the Babylonians. The Edomites worked with them. Now watch this.
And now, O Lord the King, this is that which I require and which I desire of thee. And this is the princely liberality proceeding from thyself. I desire, therefore, that thou make good the vow, the performance whereof with thine own mouth thou hast vowed to the King of heaven. Then Darius the king stood up and kissed him, and wrote letters for him unto all the treasurers and lieutenants and captains and governors, that they should safely convey on their way both him and all those that go up with him to build Jerusalem. He wrote letters also to the lieutenants that were in Syria and Phoenix, and unto them of Libanus.
Okay, hold on. Y'all could take Esau off the screen now. Thank you. Go ahead.
That they should bring cedar wood from Libanus unto Jerusalem, and that they should build the city with him. Moreover, he wrote for all the Jews that went out of his realm.
Pay close attention to this. Read that again.
Moreover, he wrote for all the Jews that went out of his realm up into Jewry concerning their freedom, that no officer, no ruler, no lieutenant, nor treasurer should forcibly enter into their doors.
Here it comes.
And that all the country which they hold should be free without tribute, and that the Edomites should give over the villages of the Jews which then they held.
So when Babylon destroyed Israel, the Edomites took over the land. That's what I want y'all to see. The Edomites took over the land during the time of Babylon. So now it's way past 70 years later. Okay, Persia's in power. We still haven't been released yet. So now we're coming back to the land. But in order to get back, it's, hey, those Edomites took our land. Okay, we need them to get out of our land. So the king made a decree to get rid of those Edomites out of the land. Cap, read that.
Yes, sir. What period were the Khazars? The Khazar Empire, CA 650 to CA 965/68. One of the largest states of medieval Eurasia, dominated a region from the Ukrainian steppes to lands approaching the Ural River, and from the Middle Volga region to the North Caucasus and Crimea.
I know y'all missed that, right? I know y'all missed that. It said the Khazar Empire dominated a region from the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. We're going to talk about them. Give me the next page. Introduction. Yep, zoom in. Read that.
Yes, sir. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of the Khazars' history was their adoption of the Jewish religion.
More conversion of these white folks. Go ahead.
For centuries, the Khazar territory was a major region of settlement for Jewish refugees escaping persecution. and their refugees soon introduced Judaism to the Khazars. The king of Khazaria, Bulin, became convinced.
So write his name down, Bulin. His first name was Cajun. Cajun Bulin. Go ahead. He was the king.
Became convinced that Judaism was the true religion. And under his leadership and that of his successors, some of the Khazar people also adopted Judaism.
Some of the Khazar people also adopted Judaism. Go ahead.
Synagogues and yeshivas were established in Khazaria.
Pay attention. Synagogues and yeshivas were established in Khazaria. This is in the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia. Go ahead.
And the study of the Torah and Talmud became commonplace.
You see what they study? The Torah and Talmud. The Talmud, that's a book of like oral traditions where they hate any mention of Christ. Go ahead.
The Khazars underscored their allegiance to the Jewish faith by adopting the Hebrew script and Hebrew personal names, even to the extent of naming some of their children after Jewish holidays, such as Pesach or Hanukkah. Jews lived in many of the major Khazar towns. Khazaria exerted a tremendous impact on world history. The Khazars persisted.
You know what's odd about that? It says that Khazaria exerted a tremendous impact on world history. But in school, they don't teach us about Khazaria. You would learn about Khazaria in school? I ain't learned about no Khazaria in school. But it exerted a tremendous impact on world history. Go ahead.
Khazaria exerted a tremendous impact on world history. The Khazars, persistent against Arab invaders, eventually halted their conquest north of the Caucasus.
Now, let's get the next page, page 8 of chapter 1. Zoom in. Pay attention.
The medieval German legend of the Red Jews.
Of the what?
Red
So
Jews.
these people were called the Red Jews. Remember what it said about Esau? The first came out what?
Red.
Red. Go ahead.
Derived from a combination of 3 of these stories. 1, about Alexander the Great's enclosure of monstrous nation behind a large mountain northeast of the Mediterranean. 2, about Gog and Magog, said to be
Because Gog and Magog is up there in Khazaria. Go ahead.
Said to be the destroyers of the world at the end of time.
That's them right there. Go ahead.
And 3, about the 10 lost tribes.
That's what
of
they
Israel.
try to say they are. They're trying to say they're the lost tribes of Israel, but they not. Go ahead.
German writers used the Red Jews legend to express anti-Jewish sentiments and fears about the anticipated apocalypse. The term Red Jews was chosen because medieval Germans saw red hair and red beards as signs of dishonest, deceitful individuals.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that?
right.
Now, hey, give me the pictures of these people. Give me the pictures. Give me the pictures of these Red Jews. Yep, this is them. This is them. And notice, the way they dress with that hat, with the Bolshevik hat. Bolshevik, that's one of their words. With the curly locks, none of that is biblical. None of that is God's law. That's all Khazar. The way they dress comes from Khazaria. People be like, ask these people, where's that that dress code in the Bible? It's not in there. But the world believes it. The world believes it. Wow. From there, give me the Jewish encyclopedia, please. That's right. Now, I wanted to get this because their scholars wrote about themselves. Now, their Jewish encyclopedia was only meant for their people. Little did they know that Negroes would start to expand their horizon from the African-American lousy book section and go to their book section and start to, inquire. Inquiring minds want to know. So this is from the Jewish Encyclopedia, the history, religion, literature, and customs of the Jewish people from the earliest times to the present day. Read that next section right there, Goliath.
Yes, sir. Prepared by more than 400 scholars and specialists.
So this ain't prepared by Negroes. This is prepared by white folks whom they deemed, 400 white folks they deemed scholars, so-called Jewish scholars. Let's go inside the book. Now, what I want y'all to see the highlighted, it says Khazars.
Yes, sir.
But notice the difference in the spelling. They got a C rather than a K, but it's the same word. Don't be deceived, brothers and sisters. That's what they do. Now, give me the next page. Read that.
As the headwaters of the Donets in the province of Lebadia. Skip down to highlight. It was probably about the time that the shaggin of the Khazars and his grandees, together with a large number of his heathen people, embraced the Jewish religion.
This is what their scholars put together. This isn't us being, as they call us, racist or hateful. Their people put this together. Give me the next page. Now watch this.
In this letter, Hasdai speaks of the tradition according to which the Khazars once dwelt near the Seir mountains.
Wait a minute. Go back to Genesis 36. And what was that, verse 8?
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 36 and verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir.
So they know that these people are Edomites.
That's right.
They know that they're Edomites. Now watch this. So what happened? How did they become the Jews and we became niggas and spicks? How in the hell did this happen? Get Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12.
Yes, sir.
And let's start at verse 10. We read this all the time. Watch this.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So never trust your enemy. This is God speaking here through Sirach. Never trust your enemies. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Just like you get a piece of iron, it might look good today, but in a couple of weeks or month, the rust will start to form. God says your enemies like that. Their wickedness will start to reveal itself. Watch this. Read on.
Though he humble himself.
Don't be deceived, brothers and sisters. Though he humble himself.
And go crouching.
Saying, I'm sorry. I love you. Go ahead.
Yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away.
No matter how much he humbles himself, how much he says, sorry, and I love you, I want to work with you. God says, take good heed of him, because he'll be to you like a looking glass. When you wipe a mirror, when you get out the shower and you can see clear now, this Bible is that looking glass. You can see him clear now. It's, no, that wickedness is still there. Watch the next verse. This is the part we wanted to get to, verse 12.
Verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place.
Wait. He'll do what? Read that again.
Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place.
Now, watch. When they converted during the time of the 7th to the 10th century, we set them by us in Spain and Portugal. We set them by us. If y'all look at the movie, ever see this movie called Othello starring Lawrence Fishburne? He was the last Moor in Spain. And all his Edomite friends were plotting against him to overthrow him. The word Moor means blacks, by the way. So read verse 12 again.
Yes, sir. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat.
Go ahead.
And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith.
Y'all see that? He said, God says your enemy will take your place. We didn't believe that. No, Lord. These are some nice people. In fact, Lord, we converted them to being Jewish. They're nice to us. Well, what happened? Give me Psalms 83. Let's read 3 to 5.
Yes, sir. The book of Psalms, chapter 83, and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
God's enemies took crafty counsel against us. We're the people of God. It says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
We're the hidden ones now. Why? Because the truth of who we are has been hidden in the earth. Come on.
They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation,
They have said, our enemies have said, let's cut them off from being a nation.
that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Go ahead.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Who, Lord? Who? Read.
The tabernacles of Edom.
Enemy number one, Edom. Enemy number one, Edom. God warned us from way back when. Don't set them by you. They'll seek to take your place. We said, we know more than you, Lord. We are smarter than you, God. And look what happened. Look what happened. Now, watch this. Give me Micah 2:1. Micah chapter 2, verse 1.
Yes, sir. The book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
Work evil upon their beds. Go ahead.
When the morning is light,
When the morning is light,
they practice it.
they practice the evil they dreamed and thought about the night before. Go ahead.
Because it is in the power of their hand.
Because they had military power. Go ahead.
And they covered fields.
They covered fields, meaning lands,
And take them by violence.
and take them by violence. Go ahead.
And how?
Wait. How did they take the land of Israel during the time of Babylon? By violence.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And they covered fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
You see that? They oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. What does that mean? They became the Jews. They became the Jews. Give me the picture. Give me the picture in Spain. What happened in Spain from the 7th to the 10th century? Oh, look what they did to us. They enslaved us. They enslaved us. We became the niggers and the spics and the Africans. They became the Jews. The Lord warned us about this. He warned us about this. Give me the next page in the next book. Let's read this. This is J.A. Rogers. Highlighted areas, please.
Yes, sir. Waite says, as interesting gradation of all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews.
Oh, all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews. Go ahead.
Especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal.
Wait. Especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. Go back to the picture. Go back to the picture, please. So black were the Jews, so dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. And look what they did to us. They enslaved us. Now go back. Go on back. Read it again.
Waite says, as an interesting gradation of all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews, especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. The Portuguese Jews were very dark, says Pritchard.
These are scholars he's quoting. Go ahead.
The Duchess de Abrantes, wife of Napoleon's ambassador to Portugal, said that the Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese could be seen in a single person.
You see that? The Jew and Negro. The word Negro came from Spain. It's Spanish. It simply means black. It referred to the Jews. That's how they called us. Negro. The Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese could be seen in a single person. Go ahead.
So dark were the Jews, especially of Portugal and southern Spain, that many whites thought all Jews were black or dark.
That's right, and they were. Because remember, at this time, they were converts. Okay? Give me the next page in the next book, please. Page 212. Read that.
Negroes' claim to be Jewish is legitimate.
The Negroes' claim to be Jewish is legitimate. Go ahead.
The land of Israel is located in Western Asia and borders on North Africa. All of the native inhabitants of that region were non-white. When Spain expelled its Jews.
When Spain expelled its Jews through slavery and expulsion.
In 1492, many of them went to Africa.
Many of those Jews went to Africa. Go ahead.
It seems probable that some of them were brought later to America as slaves.
Facts. Go ahead.
The spirituals never sing of African rivers. It's always of the Jordan or the Red Sea. They don't sing about African chiefs or kings. It's David or Moses or some other Jewish character from the Bible.
Fact. Y'all see that? That's some good stuff. Give me the book. Read that, get a lie.
Who is Esau Edom by Charles A. Wiseman.
This is so-called Jewish man who did a little research on his history. Let's go inside the book. Let's zoom in. Let's read the highlights.
There is not one favorable or positive statement in the Bible in relation to Esau Edom.
Wait. There's not one favorable. Can somebody tell a Christian there's not one favorable or positive statement in the Bible in relation to Esau Edom? You know what that means? John 3:16, he realized don't apply to Esau Edom at all. In fact, it don't apply to no other nation but the Israelites.
That's right.
Next highlighted section.
If God hated you and your ancestors, how would you react? What would you do? By natural reaction, you would be against God and his people.
See that? Go ahead.
And try to prevent them from finding out you are Esau.
So wait a minute. If God hated you and your ancestors, now there's a Christian right now saying, God don't hate nobody. Give me a cap.
Yes, sir.
Romans 9:13. New Testament.
Yes, sir. Book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
You know what they're thinking right now? That's only Esau. That don't apply to all Caucasians. Malachi 1,
yes,
please.
Sir. The book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 4. Malachi chapter 1, and verse 4. Whereas Edom, we start at verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
That was during the dark ages. Go ahead.
Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places.
They rebuilt as the Khazars. They came out as the Khazars during the Renaissance period. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build.
I should say as the Khazars and then during the Renaissance. Go ahead.
But I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness.
They shall call them, meaning Esau, Edom, they shall call them the border of wickedness. Go ahead.
And the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever.
Notice it says the people, not the person. The people whom the Lord has indignation against forever. Indignation means righteous anger forever. Let's go back to the book. And let's start again about if God hated you.
Yes, sir. If God hated you and your ancestors, how would
See, that's why it says ancestor, because it ain't just Esau himself, the individual, but his people. Read it again.
If God hated you and your ancestors, how would you react and what would you do? By natural reaction, you would be against God.
By natural reaction, you would be against God.
And his people.
And his people, meaning us.
And try to prevent them from finding out you are Esau.
And they would do everything they could do to prevent us from finding out that they were the Edomites, the children of Esau. Go ahead.
The one God is against, knowing that if God is against something, so will his followers.
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Who is it that tries to conceal their identity as Edom? The one hated by God, by claiming to be Israel.
By claiming what?
To be Israel.
So Edom would claim to be Israel. Go ahead.
The one loved by God. Only one group of people reacts as though God has a hatred for them. That is the Jews.
That is the Jews. White folks. Go ahead.
Why do you suppose the Jews form organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League?
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Read that again.
Why do you suppose the Jews form organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League to monitor and combat hate and to identify hate groups?
Oh, you're a hate group. That's what they do. But they're the true haters. Go ahead.
Would not Esau want to do this? Why is it that it is predominantly Jews who promote the anti-hate laws and other hate crime legislation? If you were Esau Edom, would you not do the same? An Edomite would also want to infiltrate churches.
So an Edomite would also want to infiltrate churches. What would they do in the church? Come on, next page. Zoom in.
And seminaries to get God's people to believe that there is no God of hate.
God don't hate nobody. He's all about love. That campaign makes it easy for them to say, Oh, you Romans 9, you're a hater. You're a racist. That's what they do. Go ahead.
And seminaries to get God's people to believe that there is no God of hate, only a God of love and mercy. The Jews have done just that in Christendom.
The Jews have done just that in Christendom. Now, read that, Yuri.
The Roman Empire, the empire of the Edomite.
Now, this book right here, I had this book, somebody gave me this book years ago. And the reason I never read it, because it says copyright 2018, that's how long it's ago. So I said, 2018, that's new. I said, why somebody buy me a new book? So I never read it. I never looked at it. So then I happened to Google, the author of the book's name is William Beeston, Beeston. So I Googled his name. And it says this book was originally written in 1853. So I said, 1853? It was reprinted in 2018. So I said, oh. So then this week I just happened to open the book. Open up for me. Let's read that.
The Romans came from Esau.
Who?
Esau.
The Romans came from Esau. Go ahead.
Who is Edom? And Italy is the Idumea.
You see that right there? Y'all see that right there? I didn't make this up. I said, oh, snap. Rome is Esau. Go ahead, raise it up.
The descendants of Esau, say the Jewish rabbins, the sworn enemies of the descendants of Jacob, even to the end of the world, were at first a small nation, inhabiting Mount Seir and the adjacent country, contiguous to the land of Canaan. They were easily confined within their own limits, so long as the Israelites enjoyed a great and formidable empire in Canaan. But after that, the powerful republic of the 12 tribes had been destroyed by the Assyrians and Babylonians. They wonderfully increased in numbers and in strength, extended their dominion in the west, subjugated Italy.
So Edomites subjugated Italy.
Founded Rome.
They founded Rome.
And the Roman Empire.
And the Roman Empire.
And at length entirely overturned the Jewish state. The second temple being destroyed by Titus Vespasian and professing the religion of Jesus Christ.
So that's how they became the Holy Roman Empire. They said, we profess the religion of Christ, but don't keep no commandments. That's what it's talking about, Roman Catholicism. Go ahead.
Which they were the first of all nations to embrace. They hold Jacob in captivity till Messiah ben David shall appear.
So they let you know how long the Israelites would be in captivity. Till Messiah, the word Ben means what, brothers? Son of. Until it says, till Messiah, the son of David. Who's that? That's Christ, shall appear. So this author knows that the real Jews would be in captivity until Christ returns. Go ahead.
The rabbins further assert that the prophecies of the prophets against Esau, Edom, and the cities of Edom have as yet received but a partial accomplishment.
Like World War I, World War II, go ahead.
And that they will obtain their fulfillment in the punishment and destruction of Rome Christian.
That's right. So they're going to get it. They all going to get it.